related questions. Put your questions in the comments now so that I can answer your questions. So, hi there, One Love. Hi there. It's nice to see you all. Come join and put those questions in the comments. All right. So while you're all joining, I just want to talk to you about a particular option, and that is going to be the VAWA option. A lot of people think VAWA no longer exists or somehow VAWA is not moving forward. And I want you to know that it is still a process that works, and we actually even just got an approval for a VAWA case just to show you that they continue to make decisions on case types like this. Now, what is VAWA? For any of you who are new, what is VAWA? So, VAWA is a solution where you're being mistreated by a US citizen or a legal permanent resident spouse, a parent, or a child. Um, in that case, and the child has to be, when it's technically a son or daughter who's age 21 or older, and they're a US citizen. If they're mistreating you, you don't have to go through the process with them, or if they refuse to file the process for you to get your permanent residence, you can actually apply on your own in a confidential process. The next thing is, a lot of people say, well, isn't that only, some people think it's only for women, VAWA. It's not. It's for women. It's for all genders. So women, men, anybody, basically any person. The other thing is, that a lot of people think it has to do with physical violence. The person has to physically harm you to qualify for VAWA. That's not the case. You can apply for this with if they mistreated you emotionally, verbally, they call you names, emotionally, if they try to control you, manipulate you, financially, even, not just physical. Physical, of course, qualifies, but it's not the only thing that qualifies. If your spouse only verbally abused you or mistreated you, you could still qualify for this to apply for your own green card. And the beauty about this is that you do get your work permit while you wait for the process, and you're able to renew the work permit while you wait for your process to be completed. So it is still there and available for situations where you are not being treated well by your US citizen or legal permanent resident spouse, parent, or a citizen child. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and answer questions. So put your questions in the comments so that I can answer those questions. I'm going to go on the chat. I'm on Facebook, YouTube. Hi there, Roger. Nice to see you. Yep, thanks for joining on YouTube. All right, I'm going to scroll through. Okay, I found one here. Okay, so I recently filed my I-140 as an international PhD student. I did premium. I am from one of the 39 countries. I also did concurrent I-485. I'm not yet to get a response for my I-140. How hopeful can I be? So I don't know what your specific case. I'm not your attorney. I wouldn't be able to advise on your specific qualifications. However, when it comes to the processing, applying for the benefit you qualify for still works here. I wouldn't be able to confirm that all your filings it was done correctly or that you qualify, but by applying, you are moving ahead with your process. Even though there's a pause, it does not mean that you should not be applying. It means that when the pause is lifted, they're going to go ahead and make a decision. So move forward with your applications. I need to talk to you. Go ahead, schedule time, call the office and schedule time. Hi there, it's nice to see you. If somebody is married and in process for the second card, but the American spouse is mad and don't want to sign, what's going to happen? You'll be denied. But there's a solution. If your spouse does not want to sign the I-751, which allows you to go from the 2 year green card to the 10-year green card, then that's a red flag, because I don't know any spouse that would be looking out for your best interest and they don't want to sign the document. Even if they're mad at you, even if somebody's mad at you, a spouse is mad at you, you don't expect them to give you such a life altering negative consequence as a result of being mad, right? Where they're going to allow you to lose your green card because they're mad at you. This is where we need to talk about what's going on to determine what waiver you can file, because that's a solution. You can file for a waiver. Which waiver are you going to apply for? One waiver is based on divorce, one waiver is based on mistreatment, the other is based on your extreme hardship. So give us a call. This is exactly what we do. We've been successful in our cases. So give us a call. Let's talk. That's going to be the best thing here. And the sooner, the better. Whenever it's time to apply for the 10-year, going from the 2 year, you don't want to wait for that. That's urgent. Hi, good afternoon. If married and filed for your citizenship, single, how can I go about it? So you need to make a correction. So if you put single, you'd have to make a correction there. But talk to your attorney about that, or an attorney for sure. Um, I'm on Instagram, guys. So put your questions in the comments. Okay, so J1 visa waiver holder, 2 year rule applies. Married to a US citizen. How can I get a waiver? So you can get a no objection letter, and then use a no objection letter to apply for a waiver at Department of State, or based on exceptional hardship. And it also depends on, because it may even be certain waivers, like for example, if you're a medical doctor, that there may be special waivers. So it just depends on what's going on in your situation. If someone is married and has a green card for over 5 years but was out of the country for work but returns every month or for 3 days, what are the chances of getting citizenship? So, 3 days a month, and then the majority of your time is in another country, you're still going to be in some trouble there, because immigration counts that time that you're outside of the US. And if it is more than 6 months in a year, they're going to definitely deny after maybe giving you a chance to explain yourself. If it's more than a year, you're automatically denied. I have not been able to renew my EAD for almost a year. Is this because of the pause? It depends on which country you're from, but yes, there is a pause, and no, there's going to be a longer delay because they have to send it back through a vetting process at the FBI. So it's going to be longer. How can I make an appointment with you? Go to the link in the profile. I'll also put the number here right now. You can call this number and you can schedule time to talk about your matter. All right, I'm coming over to you, TikTok. All right, let's see. Hi there, PD8247. Nice to see you. Okay. My mom filed I-130 for my 20-year-old sister that is here on student visa. Can she also file I-485 since she's here in school? The I-485 can only be filed at the point that The priority date is current. So in this case, if your mom is a permanent resident, your sister's here currently on a student visa, the I-130 is already filed, and as I said before, priority date is current, then adjustment of status could be filed. But keep in mind, I'm not your attorney, can't give you personalized legal advice, and I've seen many people make mistakes at this stage. So this is where I say, give us a call, talk to us, and let's go through it with you because you don't want to make a mistake here. I want to start a YouTube channel, but still haven't cleared off my VAWA case. Is it a good idea? Great, great question. Um, Now, here's what's happening. Here, they are now saying that they're going to be doing extra vetting, but part of that vetting is going to be looking at what you're actually expressing, your views, your social media posts, right? If you have any kind of political views, it's going to possibly affect your case negatively. They could deny for things like they have listed things like anti Semitic language can get your case denied and get you put into removal. Also, if they find that you've done protests or you've spoke, obviously, no, there are some First Amendment right concerns here. And I would go as far as say not concerns, violations, because people are entitled to express their views. But all of this to say, if you're going to start a YouTube channel, you have to also be watching what you put on there. What is there anything that could get you flag you? And yes, there is a First Amendment, which is freedom of speech, but right now, they are now implementing this. That's contrary to First Amendment rights, but so it's really whether or not you start a YouTube channel is going to depend on what your purpose is. What are you saying? Does it contradict anything in your application to do that? Because you're opening up. I don't know what you're doing, but if you're a YouTube channel, naturally you're opening up yourself to the public, and that ultimately carries a risk. But talk specifically to your attorney about it. My case is more than 3 years ago. In fact, September will be 4. I did biometrics in January, but nothing has been heard. Yes. So, when it comes to starting a YouTube channel, it really is going to come down to specific facts and whether that is a good idea, seeing that it's another channel to open up yourself to the public. And ultimately, that will be screened by immigration. And if they find anything contrary to your application, it could be a big problem. And that's happening now, by the way. House parole in place. My son will turn 21 this August as a nuclear program, Navy. 7 months now. I'm waiting for my work permit, hopefully my green card this August. So if you're going through adjustment of status, the parole in place process may not be required because you're already going through the adjustment of status process. Um, and I guess if you got parole in place, it would allow you to apply for adjustment of status. So, um, I don't know if this is a comment or a question. My VAWA case is more than 3 years ago. Okay, so answer that. Yeah, so keep in mind, you can't come on the live and ask me whether you can start a whole channel, right? Because I am not your attorney, and this is, even if I were your attorney, this would have to be a private conversation to discuss whether that is advisable. That's really on a case by case basis. All right. Okay, so let's say someone overstayed 10 years plus. what can they do? That's give us a call. That's what we do. We look at various options. There could be multiple options, but a 10-year overstay alone is not enough to say what options you have. Oh, and age 23 with a charge that was not prosecuted and was not found guilty definitely sounds like you need to talk to us. Give us a call. The number is on all of our videos. Go to the link in the profile, fill out our form online so that we can talk and we can look at some options. Is it possible for me to get an earlier date for my non-immigrant visa? I applied and have to wait 4 months, maybe in the case of an emergency. Thanks for the love on Instagram. I appreciate it. All right. I'm on TikTok. Is it easier to immigrate to the US German citizen? My boyfriend lives there. So it's I wouldn't say it's necessarily easier, but it just depends on the individual whether they qualify to get the benefit here. Can a child from the U.S. travel to Cuba to visit grandmother through marriage? That is awfully specific. I am not in. I When it comes to traveling to Cuba, I don't know the regulations. So, they can never deny re-entry of a child who's a US citizen back into the country. But when it comes to regulations and rules regarding travel to Cuba, that's going to be a different area. It's not my area. How long is going to be the pause? Is there any information about it? We don't know how long the pause is going to be for. And it depends on what pause you're referring to. There's the 75 country non-immigrant visa pause, and then there's the pause on US based applications, but it's based on the 39 countries that are banned. So citizens of those countries are experiencing a pause. Then we have a pause that was applied to asylum cases and various green card applications for additional vetting. They've lifted some of the hold there to move forward with the processing. And now we have basically a pause on cases again so that they can put them back to the FBI and run them through the FBI background check all over again. So that is the latest right now. Where they lifted the hold on some of the cases, part of that is they did on May 1st, they did update to say that medical doctors also would not have their case paused. And of course, we can probably anticipate that's related very much to a shortage here of medical doctors that's needed. So they've also lifted the hold on that. How long does it take for an I-360 approval? Go to uscis.gov and look up the case processing times, and you'll see the longest time there and the shortest time. How long is it gonna, I'm going through the questions. Hi there, Kel. You're a longtime viewer. Hi, Moya. Nice to see you. If my green card expired and I have been out of the USA for more than 5 years, can I renew it? You're gonna have an uphill battle because you are outside of the US. You've been outside of the US for more than 5 years. You're not supposed to be outside of the US for more than 6 months on a green card. So even if you do try to come back, well, they probably wouldn't let you on the plane with an expired green card. But even if you got as far as to get to the US, what's going to end up happening is they're going to either refer you to removal proceedings or maybe even make the argument that they can now remove you. But ultimately, the judge has to take away your green card, so they may send you to removal proceedings. You think they will voluntarily lift DV pause? Well, eventually. I think eventually, but we don't know when though. Thank you so much for the love, by the way. 3.4K likes. Thank you. If I get denied my I-130, what's my best option? Evaluate the reason for the denial, and then we can see if we can possibly refile. But we'd have to see the reason for the denial. That's going to be the first step to decide what the next step is going to be. Now, another thing I want to make clear is when you have a 10-year visa, so I've heard some people say they have a 10-year visa, they've been here for like 2 years, they have a 10-year visa, and that's still valid. Keep in mind, the minute you overstay your visa, it no longer is valid, right? So you've lost, even though on paper, the paper it says 10 years, at the point where you've overstayed the time, it's just automatically canceled. If you're married and you and your husband have domestic dispute, how can you get out of the affidavit? So I don't know who. No, usually if you're talking about the affidavit of support, so you have sponsored your spouse, now, and you in the process of sponsoring your spouse, you complete the affidavit of support that holds you to support your spouse for 10 years or until they become a U.S. citizen. Um, in this case, it's usually a binding contract with the government. But I've never really gotten the question, how can you get out of it, really? And it's rare that, as long as the immigrant spouse is, they're supporting themselves, they're doing what they have to do, usually it's a non-issue. Um, So is the pause affecting military parole? So all applications, any application that grants a benefit is affected right now. I'm just going through. Thanks so much for the love. I appreciate it. All right. Let's see, 50 new. Right. I did my medical, but it's not at the embassy yet. I hope I don't have any problems to attend it. So sometimes the medical doesn't even get there by time you go to the interview, and it's okay because it will get there shortly after. Just make sure that the logistics wise, everybody did what they're supposed to do. Make sure you get in touch with the clinic or the doctor to make sure they sent it off, and have that certainty that it will get there. Me and my fiance are getting married this month, but she's 42 and I'm 22. Are we good to go, please? So keep in mind that the 20-year age difference is going to be a red flag. Now, mark you, I've had clients that have married younger than their age, but what we do is we make sure that the evidence is solid. We make sure that when that evidence is put forth, that officer can look at it and realize that they're likely a bona fide couple. But this is definitely would this age difference would be red flagged. So you have to just make sure. I don't know if you're in the U.S. or outside of the U.S., but make sure you provide good evidence that shows that you take your marriage seriously and you're building a life together. How long does it take for the military parole approval? So it could take, based on my estimate, and I don't like to give timelines because, you tend to think that it applies to you. Every case is different. Could be a couple of months, could be up to a year. How long after filing will you get the work permit or SSN? It depends on case type, but here's how you can quench that curiosity. Go to uscis.gov, go to case processing times, look up the I-765 form, and you'll see the longest processing time there. What do you require for a work permit in the USA? There are various options. So we look at a number of different options that fits the circumstances of our client. So this is where it's very important to give us a call because a lot of people come to us, they think there's just no hope, and we find that avenue for them. So give us a call and let's talk to you. Let's go through the list and then figure it out from there. I have my I-131 travel document. I never travel on it. I want to travel. Do you think it's a wise idea? You need to understand the risk that you are taking a risk, and you have to understand the level of risk that you face, just depending on what are you applying for, how far are you in the case, because you don't want to be outside of the US and you get a bad decision when you're outside of the US. You don't want to be outside of the US coming in and know the officer has a problem that they found with your background. So it just depends. Traveling, not because you have the travel document, that doesn't mean that you're now entitled to travel. So just keep that in mind. How long for F4 green card take? US citizen, US citizen, UK citizen, US citizen sister petitioned, already have SSN. I guess, and I suppose you had the SSN from a long time ago. So at minimum, 14 years is how long it takes. I have it almost years. I've never traveled on it before. It's a marriage base. So, talk to your attorney and make sure that, because the attorney has to get to know your case. I'm conservative. So I would say stick it out until you get your decision before doing any traveling. I have a pause and non-pause passport. I applied using the non-pause. Will there be issues? So it means you're the citizen of one of the banned countries. So you'd still be subject to, keep in mind that you'd still be subject to scrutiny. Um, Now, did you disclose, because they do ask on certain applications what other countries you're a citizen of, you'd have to be completely honest with them, or that could be a big problem too. Okay, so if you don't have attorney, make sure you're looking for one. You can always give us a call and then we can do an evaluation. All right, anything on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram? Let's see. Anything? Hi there, Nadia. It's nice to see you. Can you do your biometric? Can you do your biometrics? Can you work on the receipt notice? No. So once you do your biometrics, you wait for your work permit to come, but you can't use your receipt notice to work. What can an individual do if they were told their case was denied since 2024, but after exhausting all revenues, I guess all avenues with FOIA, and still no deny letter can be provided? NIW applicant. So I don't know if you've exhausted all avenues. Um, yeah, I wouldn't be able. I think you're asking me to solve a problem that even it's taken you months to resolve. So I wouldn't be able to resolve that until I see what avenues did you take. Have you called them directly and just asked them to resend the denial letter so that you can access it? So it just depends on what those avenues are that you pursued. I want divorce, but I don't know how to start it. I live in Maryland. You need to talk to a divorce attorney. Can you explain this FBI fingerprinting regulation and how it affects applicants? So, all applicants who are waiting for a benefit like green card, work permits, they have to go through an expanded FBI background check. Previously, USCIS didn't have that level of access. Now they do. So, they're saying any applications that you would any all applications coming in now have to go through that. Any applications that were already went through the background check, if the officer was going to approve it, but now there's this background check, the officer has to send it back. If the officer is going to deny it, those denials probably won't be delayed, but the approvals will be delayed. All right, I'm back on TikTok. Let me see. Can you get a Florida driver's license with a T visa receipt notice? No. So you'd need the bona fide. My brother in law waiting for citizenship. His wife came here on a B1 visa, got married 2 weeks after. Can he sponsor her? Get in touch with us. Let's talk. When it comes to specific cases, we need to, have a discussion. There are certain concerns here. So usually, when it comes to coming into the country, if you take an action too quickly, the officer can deem it as misrepresentation or fraud. So it's if you get married too quickly within the 90 days of coming into the country, if you start working within 90 days, or if you file any immigration papers within 90 days of entry. It's not to say, because I have had clients that have been fine in the marriage based process, and being married to a US citizen slightly changes that because case law then protects the immigrant spouse from facing those misrepresentation presumptions, but it's still a risk in this time and age. So have an attorney definitely represent you. You can always or have your brother-in-law give us a call and talk about it. Don't The one thing I leave you with today is do not go through this process without an attorney. Make sure you select an attorney that can walk you through, because now what we're going to see more than ever, we're going to start seeing requests for evidence. We're going to start seeing more noise, and those can be overcome. You can win them, but with the right help and the right attorney, right, going forward. But that is going to be expected. Here at SC Law Office, how we structure our fees is we structure a flat fee where we represent clients throughout the entire process. And if things like a request for evidence comes in, annoyed, or just correspondence from immigration, we don't go and charge more for it. We go ahead and file. We get to work and deal with correspondence and maintaining the case and managing the case. So I currently hold a conditional green card, but I am from one of the banned countries. Would this affect my I-751 and my N400, am I safe? It's going to delay it, right? Because there's a pause right now, so it's going to delay it. Oh, thanks so much, Domain. I appreciate that. Oh, thanks. Thanks for the love, guys, on TikTok. I really appreciate it. So, definitely have now when you have a child together, that definitely helps the bona fides, but they need to make sure they have an attorney to go through the process for sure. Any updates on the non-immigrant visa freeze in the 75 countries? No. At this time, which is better, fiance visa or spousal visa once in the US? Does it take a while to be able to work? If you're from one of the 75 countries that are on pause, a fiance visa is going to be better. Why? Because it's a non immigrant visa, it's not an immigrant visa. So you could sponsor. So in this case, this is where I said, no, 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 don't get married, do the fiance visa. Because with the fiance visa, when it comes around to the interview, they will then go ahead and schedule and approve the non-immigrant visa for them to come to the United States and then get married. All right, that's gonna be it from me, guys. Thanks so much for joining me this Monday. I will be back tomorrow, so like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That's how you'll see when I come on, so you can hop on and ask questions as well. It also empowers other people to see the information that can empower them. So thanks again. Have a great evening, and I will be back tomorrow. Bye bye.